We are back on YouTube, and in this one, we're going to be going through something pretty exciting. We're going to learn how to scale max on Shopify with your own store. Back in November, we done £2.4 million in sales using this account structure on Meta. Again, every single time I make a video like this, people are always asking which type of account structure I use. CBO, ASC, cost caps, lowest volume. What do I use in order to run my stores? And I think it's very dependent on the situation. But if you watch this video, I'm going to run through everything from account structure, ABO, CBO, the creative we use, the tools that we use to find new creatives, how to launch statics, how we use AI, all that sort of shit is going to be in this video. So if that's interesting to you, please stick around. I'm going to try to make as many YouTube videos as possible. I'm currently in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. I'm all by myself. There's nothing really to do apart from work, make videos, and scale stores. So let's just get straight into it. Like I said before, we done 2.4 million back in November, and the account structure that we used was very, very simple. There's a few key principles and practices that we like to stick by. We always believe that the ad account should be used in a way that is the easiest to decipher data and make decisions based on that. A lot of people that when they first start, or they're maybe spending like $500 to $1,000 a day, treat the ad account like that's the way that I scale my store. Like obviously that's the way that you put more budget to ads and visually get more revenue, but that's not the way that this business is built. The business is built by having good product, good unit economics, and having a lot of creative going in there in order for you to put more budget towards that because it's performing well. It's not you on the ad account doing something technical to get a result. It's your marketing and your ad creatives that are allowing you to scale the product. So structure can often help with efficiency. So if you change from lowest cost to cost caps or bid caps, say you have a supplement brand where your NCAC is very important. Obviously, if you switch to a structure where you're restricting spend on bad days and allowing it to spend more on good days, is overall going to improve your performance, but it's never going to be the highest leverage point of your business. Never ever, from my experience. So what does that look like in practice? Like I said before, people often complain that ads are not spending or they're putting in new creatives and they're not really doing anything. I think that if you used a one CBO structure like I do now and like I used to do before quite a lot, you're going to see oftentimes like a large portion of your spend dedicated to like winner ads, which is often seen as like a friction point. They think that okay, I've got this winning product, I've got this winning ad, all my spend's going there, no other ads are getting spent, and they think that's a bad thing. So you could see it in like one of two ways. Yes, it's a bad thing that you've got only one creative spending. If that died out or fatigued, you've not really got anything to back that up with. But if you're at a lower spend, why would Meta dedicate new spend to new ads when it knows it has a winner in the account that's getting conversions? Once you get to higher spends, it actually spends more on new batches essentially. But when you're at lower spend, it's often going to just put all of your budget to new ads, to existing ads, from my experience. And I honestly think that if you did launch good enough ads that were even better than your so-called winner, they would eventually spend. I think that's more, it's a skill issue more than anything else. If you've got a good creative that is objectively better than the winner, most cases it's going to outspend or spend at some point when that one starts to fatigue or starts to convert a little bit worse. But if we want to ensure that that isn't the case and we want to ensure that new batches get a fair shot, the structure that we used below actually worked pretty well for us because we thought, okay, we've got this CBO, we're putting all of these creatives in here, we're spending a lot of time making these, and they're essentially going to waste if they get minimal spend or don't really spend anything at all. We think that is okay, that was a waste of time. I don't think so necessarily. I think if they were good enough, they would have spent. But if we want to ensure that that's not the case, we could launch ABOs and be more specific with our spend to isolate data and take learnings from that, which I think is a good thing as well. But one thing that's important to note, if you are at low spend, say under $500, you're likely going to have to get advised in a different way because you've not got the opportunity or room to waste spend like we would in an ABO. With an ABO, that's not going to be a way to like scale the account. It's a way to get new data on new batches, on new landing pages, new concepts that we could take forward into our creative process and then put those into the CBO. If you have a low amount of spend, you don't want to be wasting money on ABO batches. I would focus on the creative, by continuing to improve on your creative, your videos, your statics, continue to launch them in a CBO until you get to a point where day ads do spend. And once you can scale to like 1-2K a day in spend, then you've got the room to allocate $100 to $200 into ABOs, in my opinion anyway. So the ad account structure that allowed us to spend more than $1 million in 30 days, as you can see by the image below, in November, was simply just having one ABO with weekly batches that was testing net new concepts or landing pages. So if we had a completely new style of ad, it's taken us a long time to edit, brief, get a creator on that, and say we've got a batch anywhere between 5 to 10, we would allocate that inside an ad set inside the ABO, and we would launch it at roughly 5 to 10% of the daily budget. At bigger spend days, when we're doing 50k a day in spend, that would obviously not be the case, but it's basically just a way to sort of always have the same budget. If you feel comfortable doing $50 a day, go ahead with that. If you feel comfortable doing 100 or 10%, whatever you think, just set that as the budget you do when you launch a new ad set in an ABO. We would continue that running for maybe like 5 to 7 days. If it was a winner, we would duplicate that into the CBO and continue to scale it into the ABO. And usually what we would see is it would spend well in the ABO, it would start to die off, and then it would pick up spend in the CBO, which is what we want. We want to create a CBO where there's multiple creatives always spending to overall increase the account spend across everything. And if it was a loser, we would obviously turn it off after 3 to 5 days in the ABO. Then the CBO, we would still launch all of our creatives into the CBO. So everything we make from videos, statics, carousels, everything would go into the CBO. But like I said, if we had a batch or a landing page that we specifically wanted to test, we would put that in the ABO. See if it's a winner, then duplicate it in. We only use one main scaling campaign in the CBO, one CBO per country. For us, it's just a way to differentiate the profit calculation, as each country has a different target CAC. So the UK is going to have a different target CAC for us because we need to pay VAT. In the US, it's going to be slightly different. There's different shipping costs and stuff like that. So we would just have an ABO for a testing ground, a playground to test new things, CBO, one per country, and that's where you're going to scale all of your ads. The goal is to increase account spend by launching new concepts in the ABO and duplicating them over. And that way we can ensure if we spend a lot of time on an ad batch and put it in a CBO, get zero spend, we don't really learn anything from that. If we put it in the ABO, it spends $200, it doesn't get any sales, or it maybe gets 1 or 2 but is unprofitable, we could still take learnings from that. So it's good to do it this way, in my opinion. And everyone is going to have their own way of running things, but in my opinion, I like to keep things as simple as possible and focus on the main driving force of my ecom store, which is in most cases going to be the creative, driving down cogs on the product, or trying to increase LTV. If I could do one of those things, that's going to bring me more leverage than trying to spend more time on the ad account uploading or duplicating campaigns and doing all this sort of stuff. They three things are going to bring you way more revenue and profit over the long term if you could focus on them. Use your ad account as a way to capture data for new batches and landing page tests. You could even look at the metrics below, such as hook and hold rate, average watch time, click-through rate on statics, conversion rate on landers compared to the original. These are metrics we could take away from the ABO and actually put into our next batches. For example, if we tested a specific hook variation on this new batch, it worked well, but the rest of the video didn't convert, we can then attach that hook onto new concepts. If we test a landing page, it gets objectively better performance in terms of conversion rate compared to the regular PDP. That's something that we can actually take away from an ABO instead of it going into the CBO, picking up no spend, and we don't learn anything from it at all. So if you have the budget to do so, go ahead and start running ABOs. I don't think there's any really big downside to doing so. So moving on to creative, there is one tool that I would pretty much recommend to anyone. I think it costs around $100 per month, and it's called Atria. We use this to follow all of our competitors, brands that we like, people that run big like 7-8 figure brands, supplement brands. We could then copy like their statics, their VSLs, the way that they structure videos. It's absolutely incredible platform. You could get way more specific. Obviously, you've probably seen things like these before, such as motion, but for us, Atria is very, very important to what we do. You could break it down by format, whether that's video, image, carousels. You could see like the landing page breakdown per store. You can see where they're allocating most of their traffic. From there, you can probably replicate their winning landing pages because you could see the allocation of spend that's going there. You could even Go inside the ad, you can see their copy, you can see how long it's been running for. And for videos, this is a great tool for me, is getting the script for videos from certain brands. We can then copy them, put them into Claude, or use them in a way to get new briefs, new ideas. For us, a massive, massive help for us in Q4. It allowed us to closely follow our competitors and other brands, get new concepts very, very quickly. And then moving on to the types of creatives that we mainly used for this store, is a big one for us was like skit ads, using two creators, going back and forth in more of a TikTok style of video where it was more argumentative, it was more controversial, without really going hard on the product. It was more so just storyline there. Worked very well. Top of funnel type statics to landing pages using AI generated images using Nano Banana or ChatGPT with long primary text. So I have an example down here, is I think these are from Norse Organics. They often use like images like this, which are generated through Nano Banana. They'll pair them with a long primary text, extremely long in some cases, going through the problem, unique mechanism, how the problem is happening, how it is solved, and then these usually go to a landing page. As you can see here, they'll learn more ads, so they'll go to a specific landing page that is targeted towards these problems. Very, very good way to get new customers top of funnel into seeing your brand. For us, another one is heavy on offer statics, especially if you're selling an in-demand product, which seems pretty obvious, but say for example you're selling a supplement and there is big brands on TikTok, there's a few brands on Meta spending a lot of money on Meta. You don't really necessarily need to find new customers top of funnel, because you could just capture and hijack their demand by displaying offer statics in feed for customers who are ready to buy the product there and then. Try as many different offers as possible. If you do percentage discounts on offers, do buy one get one free, all that sort of stuff you probably know already, but for us it was about like hijacking the demand in the space with offer statics, and done very, very well. Another one, again, long format VSLs. Everyone knows that these are pretty much crucial to any supplement brand or big 7-8 figure store. We run these. AI animations are becoming very, very popular. We didn't really do these for the £2.4 million month, but I'm seeing them everywhere on Twitter right now. This style of ad here, which is using Nano Banana and Kling, I think, to animate these. And lastly, we've done a lot of bottom of funnel offer videos, especially during Q4. Again, sort of just a different format to the offer statics, but longer format. You can still go deep on the pain points, the angles that you have winning for your product, but just transition them into a more bottom of funnel offer video where you could offer gifts or whatever your offer is. Just be heavier on these in these videos, make them shorter. These pretty much took over our whole account in Q4, spent a lot, and in some cases our top of funnel statics and videos were spending a lot less than our offer statics in our videos, offer videos, sorry, because the demand was already created months beforehand, so we could just capture that with these offers, videos and statics. We also use a platform called Leadsy, which is great to get whitelist people on. You essentially just give them the link to Leadsy, and it's a quicker way to get them signed up to your Facebook business manager. You can get creators on there, small creators, big creators. We like to do a lot of these with micro creators, so we offer them free products in return for access to their page. These are great for lowering CPMs, hitting new traffic, hitting their followers, and overall bringing down your CPMs. We haven't seen like massive spend for these, but they're good to have in the account anyway, if you can get creators on board. We also done secondary pages, which we ran offer statics through. So if we had a product that was related to joint pain, we would maybe create a secondary page. You've probably seen these before, a lot of people are doing them. So health pages or doctor pages, health tips, all this sort of thing. We would create a Facebook page, run these offer statics through them. There would be usually more images like this, or this one here where it's like organic style images, and we would generate these through Nano Banana, product in hand photos, utilize long primary text like Norse Organics do, like here, long story format to go deep on the pain point. It's essentially a way to get people to either go to your PDP or your landing page, which is listicle or advertorial. And then finally, again, we would use offer statics through these secondary pages to go through more personal stories and lead to the offer. So here's an example of what I would do. I would go to Nano Banana, I would get an image of someone holding the product. I would write a prompt similar to this, where it's like, create an organic style primary text if you were a customer, written with punctuation errors and emojis for this image ad. with a short story personal experience. This is just an AI generated image, but you get the gist of this. This is Claire's wellness tips, and it goes through a story. It is actually looks like it's written by a real person. It's got the emojis, it's got like the full stops, the double question marks. These done extremely well for us as well. It's essentially just doing a bottom of funnel offer static in a different format, which is pretty cool. And we got really low CPMs and low CAC on these. Wasn't a top spender, but again, great to have in the account. And then finally, just brands I follow for inspiration is Norse Organics, Everyday Dose, Space Goods, Arctic Goddess, Gruns, and Essence Vault. These are different in different ways, I suppose. So Norse Organics is a brand I really like to look at for top of funnel stuff. Like, how do they get people cold traffic looking at an image like this with primary text like this to a landing page to then convert on a product? They're a brand that I like to closely study just for that reason alone. Space Goods is always a massive brand that we always looked at. Massive here in the UK, mushroom coffee brand. Their videos are very good. The Essence Vault's also a good one. They're a massive brand here in the UK once again. They're releasing new products, home products. Their videos are very good. The podcast style of ads, which are more high production but good to follow. Grun's massive supplement brand, obviously worldwide. We're in supplements as well, so we like to closely follow their videos, their statics. I'm pretty sure they're all in on like the GLP-1 angle right now, going to listicles. So yeah, these brands I like to follow, and that's pretty much it. I just wanted to make a quick video on sort of the things that we went through in Q4, things that worked for us, and yeah, hopefully you found that useful in some way. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a comment asking for any advice or any questions you have regarding ecom, any videos you want me to make in the future. I would appreciate that. I'm going to leave my Instagram below, my Twitter below in the description if you want to contact me as well. So yeah, appreciate you watching, and hopefully I'll see you again in the next one.